I am Spin City News, also known as the Angry American, and we have Mr. Benjamin Balderson again joining the broadcast. Mr. Balderson came to me with an idea this afternoon, and I said, sure, why not? We also have School of Thought. School of Thought, good to see you. Thank you for coming on the broadcast. All of our panelists are streaming to their respective platforms. We are live over on the Benjamin Balderson channel, Spin City News on YouTube, X, Rumble, and Pilled. We also have Hard Talk Toasty in his house. He is streaming to his respective platform over on YouTube, and School of Thought is streaming to Kick and her YouTube channel. We have a good topic. We have some people back in the back right now that want to take on the panelists. School of Thought started off. How are you this evening, young lady?
I am doing great today, and how are you?
Oh, I am blessed with all of my new friends, and they want to come up on the platform and argue with me, which, okay, I will be your huckleberry of this evening. We also have in the back, we have Clay, my erroneous co-host on the panelist on America Rising Media over on Pilled.net. We also have our good friend Kevin. Kevin is back for more fun. Kevin, good afternoon, good evening. Clay, Toasty, Kevin, what say you this evening?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good.
Tommy Stock.
Good evening. Kevin, you're a little flowery. We got some stuff to talk about tonight, so we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
He is our resident flower child of this evening. We also got Kraut Mick in the back. Hello, Kraut Mick. Good to see you, sir. Good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
I am doing absolutely well. And we also have our resident security agent, SCN Security, joining us this evening. If you haven't done so, please like, share, and subscribe to everybody up on panel. Mr. Balderson is in charge this evening. Don't play with Mr. Balderson. He gets a little upset. So, Mr. Balderson, as discussed, I need to roll away and see if the fucking moon is real, and if it's leaking water, I will bring back a report. So, Mr. Balderson, you are in charge this evening. Take it away, sir.
So this evening we were going to talk about the Iran war vote. So today, pulling it up so we can get the actual facts. The U.S. House of Representatives voted 215 to 208 on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026, to pass a war powers resolution directing President Trump to end the military hostilities against Iran without congressional authorization. So the idea here then is, and we are all taught this in school, that the president has 60 days that he can go out and take action, but after that, it needs to be approved through Congress in order to actually declare a war. This is part of why we went such a nice long time in the 90s where they said we weren't at war. It's because we never went for more than 60 days. So, but now that 60 days ran up on May 1st, and we all have noticed that it's June. So that is past May, and it so the 60 days has expired, and the first step in this really is getting the House to sign it. The next step is going to be the Senate to sign it, and we see where it goes from there. So Nova, ladies first.
Ladies first on this particular subject, huh?
Well, it also I go clockwise.
Oh, you go
And
clockwise? I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of that. I don't have a whole lot to say.
I'm a
on
good stoner. You pass it clockwise.
All right, all right. Well, I don't have a whole lot to say on this particular subject, except for I don't really see why everybody's having so much of a bitch fit about it, to be quite frank, because obviously it's getting passed. So what is everyone complaining about, I said I didn't have a lot to say about the subject.
Thank you,
right now.
Nova.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Mr. Toasty, what do you got to say, sir?
Gosh. I'm kind of wondering if
Your turn.
Trump doesn't need congressional vote if it's a NATO ally being attacked, because Israel is a NATO ally and Iran is not, and that kind of we kind of swore to protect our NATO allies, did we not?
Well,
So that's
just
kind of where I'm at
absolute-
with that.
Yeah. And who moved it around? Span, don't move it around while I'm in the middle of going around. So now we'll move to Clay and get it back in order.
Sure. Yeah, I got a little bit to ponder on this thing, because looking up some stuff and kind of understanding what the law is, what's constitutional, what isn't constitutional. So, from my understanding, it's been this is like the 96th day. He could have put in a 30-day extension after the 60 days, but also he has claimed that this is not a continuing effort, because he is saying that hostilities ceased. And so because of that, what he's claiming is that essentially, how are you going to tell me to stop hostilities when I'm not actively engaging in hostilities? However, during this 96 days since the very beginning of this, which was back in February, the end of February, there have been various attacks from both sides. The U.S. can claim defense in a lot of cases, and sometimes they might have a little trouble claiming that it's not offensive. But ultimately, the biggest thing right now is the blockade. So in the Strait of Hormuz, essentially ships are, doing their business, and essentially Iran, being the hostile nation that it is, basically wants its 12 miles of the strait. Well, the U.S. wants to be able to do business in there, so they brought their ships in. Now they can bring ships all around international waters, wherever they want to go. It's essentially like public sidewalk. Think of it like the public sidewalk, right? But as soon as you start getting into ingress, egress, that kind of thing, right? These are now national territories, national sea waters, that sort of thing. The question comes up, is it legal for him to be able to bring so many ships in that it essentially creates a blockade? And even if he is that seen as a hostility from Iran's point of view, or anybody else's for that matter? And of course, he's going to probably contend that it's a defensive measure because we have our interests there. So these questions come up, and I think that those would be some fine points to discuss during all of this. But I'll go ahead and pass it on to see what everybody else has to say.
And Kevin?
All right. So
What do
this
you
is
got
my
to
thought
say
on
about
this. This is my thought. This is red meat. Having come now, some of my history, having worked on the left as an agent of chaos in political and corporate areas and arenas, and having now since gone from that camp to a conservative camp, I'm very concerned about the red meat this will throw to the activists with their funding, with their political ties, how they can use this to obfuscate emotional manipulation for the general public. Covering, it's like, it's not so much about the lies I'm concerned with. It's that people are really wrapped up in their emotions, not thinking logically, not taking a moment to look at the picture from any other optics other than the optics being provided to the consumer of media. And this is a concern. Having worked on the left as an agent of chaos, I'm all too familiar with what kind of damage this can do. I understand there are grievances on not just both sides, there are grievances within micro-factions which fall between both sides. What we don't need right now is more chaos. We need to have discussions with each other, put our egos aside. We need to find solutions that we can all live with. They're not going to be perfect. I'm just saying, this stuff that we're about to see with this Iran, this is going to further incite more, is the proper word, discord. It's going to shake people to their emotional cores, and it is obviously a very high tension situation. So that's my concern. That's my offering right there.
I like Kevin's position. That was well thought out. Kraut Mick.
What's up? Well, much like Nova, I don't really have to say nothing on the subject currently. All I will say is, anybody that acts like they got all this answers to the situation is in denial because it's very deep. And at the end of the day, if it benefits America, I'm all for it. But no matter what, it's Trump's doing. So whether it's good or bad, he's going to get blamed for it. He could wipe his ass from balls to back, and people will complain about that shit. But that's all I got to say for now.
Thank you, Kraut. And security. Security is often not at his desk, so possibly security.
He's doing a patrol right now.
Yeah, he's doing a patrol. So we'll open up the panel. Before we do, I would like to read the definition of war. War is defined as a state of usually open, declared, and prolonged armed conflict between states, nations, or organized groups. It is characterized by intense violence, aggression, and the use of military forces to achieve political, territorial, or strategic objectives. So that seems like the argument in the description here, which, politics has just gotten fucking stupid. It's interesting that so many politicians are disbarred lawyers. That seems to be their fallback. And we wonder why they are, where they all of a sudden redefine all the fucking words. The big, obviously we've had violence, aggression. We're using military force to achieve political, territorial, and strategic advantages. So the thing that would be up for debate at that point in time is prolonged. And it would appear that the United States, by law, has said anything more than 60 days is that prolonged thing. And then it goes from being an action to a war, at which point the president can't arbitrarily decide to do it. He must seek the approval of the Senate and the House. So go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. Yeah, that is 100% a thing. And 60 days plus, of course, if he applies for a 30-day extension, and then
which we're also passed.
Right, which we're also passed. We're like 6 days specifically past that at this point. So now comes the question: is he accurate in what he is stating when he states that it is not an active hostility?
Well, we were watching his speech earlier today where he stated that Iran just did an entire series of bombings. And that was he stated that was in retaliation for the last 2 days. We had done a large series of bombings and you usually don't bomb people when you're not at war. That's as far as I know. So if we're continuing to bomb each other, that would seem to be fairly hostile. I mean, I've not known too many friendly bombings. Maybe it's a flower bomb or something.
Well, here's a question on this because, going back to the definition of war, would it be fair to say that typically, not every time, but typically, especially with nation states, wars are fought to gain or defend territory more specifically? Because I know there were some other things in there that it
in current day, or are we talking historically?
Well, historically, yeah. I mean, because
Historically,
really,
it was more about spices and sugar and things and commodities than anything else.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we can
Opium.
certainly count oil into that framework. But more specifically, why? Like you can like let's say that you're let's take the Silk Road for instance, right? Now the Silk Road was a massive long chain of trade. I mean, essentially, it was just basically a trade route. But there were territories all along there that essentially being controlled by nations in between. At times, those nations would go to conflict and it could escalate to war, essentially, for the purpose of controlling that portion of the trade route. But is it the trade route that is the goal of the war or the conflict itself, right? Because I mean, if I say that the material gain, the material wealth is the gain, that's like the bigger picture, sure. But the territory itself is the end goal of the conflict, not the end goal of not the end goal of the trade. The trade is something else. That's like a cause and effect thing. Like if you control the territory, then you control what's like what Dune. If you control the planet, you control the spice.
Yeah.
Right? So
I started reading that book.
The spice must flow.
yes.
It's a really good book.
But
does
the spice is what you would control, whereas the territory is what you're after controlling. So when I say that, what I'm saying is essentially like to control the territory would be the goal of the military, the executive branch. But just controlling the flow of the trade, that's the goal of the people itself. And that would be the end goal of the war if you would go to war, whereas the territory itself would be the end goal of the executive branch. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was actually I was kind of reading about this a little bit so I can try and come up with something that I want to put some input on. I was looking into apparently we have a legal obligation to protect and defend Israel's quantitative military edge. So that means we're putting a lot of money and we're putting a lot of equipment into Israel. And so and not only that, but it ensures that we're legally obligated to protect them from any threats or collisions that are around them. So what do you guys think that's going to do in regards to the bill?
We're definitely not legally obligated to protect them, and they're not part of NATO.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ben on that one. I mean, essentially, like it's like if I'm a company, right, I'm gonna buy a piece of real estate, but at the same time, if that real estate, all of a sudden now has a sinkhole nearby, I'm not gonna be like, okay, now I need to go protect that real estate. I'm probably gonna try to sell it off pretty quick. In fact, at a very cheap rate. And not tell anybody about the sinkhole. No, don't do that. Don't
Hey,
do that.
Clay,
That's
can I ask you
illegal.
a question?
Ignore the sinkhole.
Yeah. But it's a
Yeah.
sinkhole essentially. Like I do see the benefits of the location, but there's like Route 1. Route 1 is a great location in the United States, but Route 1 also is in Florida, and Florida is known for sinkholes, right? So you see where I'm going with that, right? With Israel, is it this sinkhole that we need to continue to invest in?
Clay and Boulder, can I ask you two a question real quick?
Yeah.
It's not. It's not Balderson.
Old McDonald.
Well, first, I want to say thanks for having me, and I want to stay in here, even though I'm not really putting much in. I was under the impression this was voter fraud, because that's what Spin and a couple other cats on here were talking about earlier, voter fraud. That's why I'm in here. But I'm gonna stay in here. But I got a question for you two.
Well, it's not voter fraud. It's the House resolution for the war, and then also the California gubernatorial race, which is.
Well, hopefully we get back into that, because I got a strong case for why that is a thing. But to the question to Clay and you is, I think besides the Vietnam War, we've actually won all the wars in the last 200 years besides Vietnam. But even that said, every time we won a war, has America come out stronger on top?
We definitely didn't win the Afghanistan war. There's actually numerous wars we didn't win, like Afghanistan. We went in there to take Taliban out of the leadership. We spent trillions of dollars, lost lives. We left. Who's in charge? The Taliban. So did we win that war? And with Iran currently, Iran, despite how many times Trump has said we've won the war, how many times Trump has said that Iran can't continue warring with us because we've depleted them. A very reliable report came out that said Iran's still sitting on 80% of its missile stockpile and its drone stockpile, that they can keep this up for a very long time. And this is without China and Russia adding to them as allies. And they've closed the Strait of Hormuz. The gas prices have doubled. We've spent, every time we do a bombing raid, we spend hundreds of billions of dollars. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars doing the return firing, which has been actually in some cases more effective. So I'm not sure by what metric you're judging win on, but from the way it's looking right now, if we pull out, we're going to have to pay them $300 billion in war restitution in order to rebuild their country. The Strait of Hormuz is still ran by them. The same people are still running their government, and they are still ready for war.
And
Yeah,
on an
well,
agricultural level,
I'll let Clay finish up or whoever just said that. But yeah, history is not my strong subject. I always try to educate myself. Though the only two things I know about Iran, well, three things: the history of how it started. Their fucking auto drones only cost like $8,000. So yeah, you're right, Boulder. They can fucking do this shit all day long, compared to our methods are like 800,000 or some crazy shit like that. Like they have a means to and to continue it. And but Clay, man, go ahead and continue, and I'll try to put my 1 cent in where I can.
Yeah, well, I'll let Kevin go, because that was actually Kevin, and then I'll give mine. I want to hear Kevin.
thank you. From an agricultural point, I'm concerned because, to my knowledge, Iran exports fertilizers and also the chemistry which is utilized to create fertilizer. And like it or not, globally, our soils are poor. And I am concerned.
That's true.
Yes, depleted. And I am concerned if this follows through, Iran may have a move on the board which could hamstring international consequence to deprive agricultural sectors, thus causing further. They say that we're experiencing famines in some areas. They say that we have food shortages. We're dependent upon. I see you shaking your head, Burnt Toast, and I want to know what's in your mind.
I saw my I saw my name tag.
I'm gonna be watching my
Not
name
that I'm so
here,
sorry.
'cause oh my
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not normally my name tag, and Spin's having a little bit of fun.
I see.
Teasing everybody with name tags.
Spin, how
I
dare you?
told him
How
to.
dare
You can
you?
blame me.
I'm sitting here trying to be an intellectual at a global economy level, and you're messing around with the how dare you?
I was going to put yours as Miss Cleo.
Oh, come on.
That would be a pretty clear reading.
Oh my god.
I don't
Change
have
the
any
letters,
shoe
Cleo.
polish to pull that off. Are we on safe? Are we on safe platforms right now? Can I be me, or do I need to be the censored version of me?
You need to be the sometimes censored classy Kevin, because that's what I
Okay.
changed
Okay.
yours
Friendly,
to
honey.
now.
All right.
Radio friendly.
So
Go ahead.
Although I was going to change Ben's to Old McBen, but it was funnier than Old McDonald.
Yeah, that's a better choice.
Yes.
So, Toasty,
My
you wanted
concerns
to
are-
respond to him, though?
Oh, I think he did. He was letting me know that it was about the name thing and had nothing to do with the content of what I was talking about.
Oh.
My concern
Yeah.
is agriculture, the agriculture impact, the agricultural impact, the highly likely agricultural impacts of what is going on currently.
The U.S., although militarily we have been very strong, and this is actually going to be tied to both you, Kevin, and what Kraut was saying. Militarily, we've always been very strong. The American resilience is there, okay? Because we are a quote unquote free people, that spirit in the American people has always been there. But there are many, many, many wars. And I just looked up, because I already knew there were a few, but there are quite a few wars that we have lost. And it really does show our resilience because as many wars as we lost, we just keep getting back up and punching again. The Seminole was never conquered, right? They recently actually just received a nice portion of land down in Florida, where now it is the nation of the Seminole. And so we also have compassion towards other people, which is a great quality, but sometimes it can be a detriment. But when it comes to the agricultural part, the U.S., while we have some very lush agricultural lands, we're also very we've got ingenuity. I don't know if you guys know it, but there was once prior to the Dust Bowl, after the Dust Bowl. The reason they did this was because of the Dust Bowl. There is a massive strip of trees that has been planted down the middle of the mainland of the U.S. And they did this for environmental reasons because the U.S. was essentially becoming an arid wasteland. And so the EPA, I think it's the EPA. I forget what it was called then. It might have been called that, but essentially it's the Teddy Roosevelt thing, which he did really good, and he made a big change for agriculture in that way. And yes, you are right. You are right that essentially we do have problems with agriculture. Now we're not quite nearly as bad off as a lot of other nations, but because of the fact that we are so ingenuitous, I think is the right word, we have put in a lot of safeguards, and we continue to, but focus has been averted in the past, and it is currently probably being averted to things like, that nation over there is jacking up our gas prices, so we can't survive, and we need to go to war. the thing
Question.
is, we're resilient. We'll get ourselves back up if we happen to have a little bit of an energy crisis. I'm not saying I want that. I'm saying that, we're so ingenuitous that I just don't see us as a nation, the United States, going down because the gas prices went up. Right now, it's a sucky situation.
Okay.
Good.
I do have a question for you. The lush farmland. Did you mention lush farmland?
Yes, there are massive portions of this country.
Question. Do we know who owns those now?
Mostly farmers, but the problem is there's huge issues with what Clay's saying right there. That it's that farmland, it's not deplete like these desert areas, which require massive amounts of nitrogen. The problem is monoculture and tilling every year that topsoil layer keeps getting smaller and smaller. So areas that we would have naturally considered a lush growing land are requiring amounts of nitrogen that they've never required before. And one of the problems that chemically we understand, when you put liquid nitrogen, purified nitrogen into the ground, that it actually tends to tear up the soil biome because it starts snatching onto things so hard that it tears up the soil biome.
Didn't we used to alternate clover in our fields at one time?
Yeah, clover and alfalfa. Alfalfa is a big one. Anything
Yeah.
in that situation, it's what we call a nitrogen fixer. So this is actually fixing nitrogen in the ground, and there's actually multiple forms of nitrogen. Not all nitrogen is bioavailable to the other plants. So something like clover or alfalfa or peanuts, any kind of beans, basically, these are going to be nitrogen fixers. But you stop seeing that rotation as much anymore, because now more people are more concerned about their cash crops as they are about rotating their land.
Well, they're not going to have cash crops for much longer if they deplete their soil.
Well, they're also taking out basically what Clay was referring to. The Midwest at one point in time was a giant lake, and that's part of why the soil there is so nice and loamy and black. But the problem is the erosion. And so what they did was put a giant windrow across fucking Nebraska, basically, in order to try and stop this erosion technique. And then also there was windrows in between basically every 40 acres. So you'd have a quarter of land, you'd have a windrow on each side, and this is how it operated. Well, the younger kids have forgot about these, why they did these things. So they went and ripped these windrows clean out because that's another 5 acres I can farm.
Yeah, you got to know the land. I mean, there's so much to keeping what we have now that has been forgotten.
Yeah,
and it's because people don't trust the land itself. They want to be able to do what they want to do on that land and build and not have to really take care of it. You got to take care of the land, right? You can't shit on the land. But yeah, no, you're 100% right, Kevin. Yeah, there's a big problem with agriculture. Massive problem.
The nitrogen is not coming. They're saying it's going to go down by quite a bit. Hey, LP Fletch, what's up, brother?
So, one thing that could help with the nitrogen is, believe it or not, old coffee grounds. Like used coffee grounds that can help, along with. Well, there's this guy. I don't know if he's still on or not, but he was a prepper down in Tennessee. He talked about making his own homemade fertilizer for it's a slow leach process type of fertilizer, not like the commercial stuff we're used to. But
yeah, he's talking about more making a compost tea, probably. Yeah,
a lot of that too. Yeah.
The problem with compost teas, which I'm all for, I also compost tea. Where we've run into a problem is, as a nation, since the early 1900s until now, we've had a shift. In the early 1900s, 80 to 90% of a person's food came out of their own yard. Mm-hmm. And now 99% of food comes out of the grocery store. So we had to commercialize our food methods. And so the compost tea starts losing. You don't really, that's super hard to do in any kind of a scale like that.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
part of why they switched to the liquid minerals, your nitrogen, potassium, and
for
phosphorus.
industrial, yeah, for industrial farms and the like. Yeah, I understand that. But
Yeah,
also,
that's
most of the
where the
time,
nitrogen shortage is going to cause an issue, is in these commercial farms.
yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, I was going to mention half the time the vegetables and fruits are shipped from halfway across the world. So
Yeah, better growing seasons when you're yeah, when you're eating a fresh bell pepper in fucking the middle of winter. You know, this isn't because it was growing here.
Okay, gentlemen, we have a few people in the back. We have Cameron and Duck in the back. $10 to boot somebody for 10 minutes and replace them with somebody on the panel. Mr. Old McDonald is unbootable. Nova Star is unbootable, and Clay is unbootable. They have immunity. So if you want to boot somebody, it is $10. That is payable over on the Benjamin Balderson channel for the evening. Mr. Balderson, back to you, sir.
Yeah, so I think that's a very valid point that Kevin brings up about the farm shortage and the problem that people have. We saw this especially in 2020. Supply chain shortages don't immediately affect us. It's not until 6 months down the road, a year down the road, we start seeing the hiccups. And this one is going to be huge in a year.
However, in our history, okay, and I'm saying this because I hang out in the back channels with the radical left. They like to hit warehouses. They are planning and have hit warehouses. They like to use our food banks as a way to subsidize their activism, which takes away from the truly needy within the communities. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that is a point of discussion. I'm saying it's something to consider when considering a countrywide food storage and availability. I'm saying also that it's happening at an international level, as we've seen in Europe, with how somehow our local issues somehow percolate on over the sea, the ocean for some reason, because these are international movements. And
Well,
then backing all the way up.
I would say because the media is owned by the same people is what I would say on that. So they're getting.
I don't disagree.
Propaganda we are.
I don't disagree. And then I'd like to go all the way back to my initial statement of my concern with the Iran situation, jarring people in their emotions and distracting people from thinking logically and sensibly.
well, something else I'd like to throw in about the whole shortage that we're noticing now. Aren't we? I'm pretty sure that whole thing started because of the Ukraine and Russian conflict that kicked off. Yeah, I think we're just starting to feel the effects of that. And if you think that's bad now, just wait a few more years. It's going to get interesting.
Yeah, Ukraine weirdly has a weird number of food processing plants in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like an ungodly amount of food processing happens in Ukraine for some reason.
They were the breadbasket of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, it's they don't grow the food necessarily all there. I mean, Ukraine's a fairly small place, but the processing of the foods happens there almost exclusively. It's kind of wild. And yes, it takes a long time for these shortages. It's like when I was in the army, if the little gap showed up at the very front of the line during a march where you were marching in line, that gap, by the time it got to the end, that gap would be giant. And it's like it got added to, this guy would run a little bit to catch up, and then this next guy had to run further to catch up and further to catch up. By the time you got to the end, that gap was huge. And this is the way the supply chain works. And we just haven't felt that. It's just a tiny little hiccup right now when we're getting ready to feel the larger gap in that.
Yeah, traffic does the same thing. I forget this. There's an actual term for, or like a little thing for it. It's called something where the gap in your traffic gets larger and larger, or it gets smaller and smaller. Like someone hits the brakes, the next person has to hit the brakes. The cars get the traffic gets slower and slower. I forget what it's called, but yeah, same concept there.
Yeah.
So this conflict though, so you know, the vote itself on this referendum or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what to fucking call it. I know they call it something here. What is it called? Let me look at it here.
Hold on. Just 1 second. We'll play it. What Trump has to say about it, and then we'll all know exactly for sure. Thank you to security for sending this.
Ben, do you want me to put it up?
U.S. I got it. U.S. resolution.
War with Iran in a 215 to 208 vote. The U.S. House just adopted a war powers resolution to halt the U.S. military action against Iran. It is a significant response to the president's handling of the war. The resolution now heads to the Senate for consideration. This all comes as we're following Iranian attacks in Kuwait and Bahrain and U.S. strikes on Iranian targets today.
So strikes happened. We're at war. The White House is trying to say we're not at war. We aren't.
Because it halted, supposedly.
Yeah, but obviously it hasn't.
Right. So really, though, I see this particular resolution as essentially just crying. Because here's the thing. This is the problem that they're going to run into. So passes Senate, representatives, passes the House, passes the Senate. And where does it have to
already
go?
Passed the House. That's what happened today. Is it passed the House? So now it's got to go to the Senate. And if the Senate passes it,
where does it go?
And then it goes to Trump. Trump could possibly veto it.
Well,
I don't know I don't know if Trump vetoes it. I don't know what happens from there.
I don't see it passing the Senate, you guys. It's like Clay said, it's just crying. It's all Democrats and 4 rhinos.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, is that more Republicans are crossing the line on it.
Well, here's kind of my point on this is, okay, let's say that it passes the Senate. Let's say it goes to Trump. Trump vetoes it because Trump's not going to pass it, obviously. He doesn't even believe that it's actually a thing that he's at war. So where does it go? It goes back, and then was it 2/3 vote or 3/4 vote? I forget.
2/3.
It's 2/3
to get to override it.
And there's just simply not enough votes for that to happen. That's not going to happen.
If he vetoes it, I guarantee more Republicans cross the line if he vetoes that shit. If it passes the Senate, yeah. Like they got to realize the Republicans are already in for a smashing at the midterms. They're in for a smashing. If Trump overrides the will, because right now the Iran war is about as popular as gonorrhea. Nobody fucking wants it.
Nobody wants it. I agree.
Yeah,
but then you run into the problem of what happened in Kansas. Right, so Trump has a lot of power. Sorry, that's just me. But you do run into that problem that essentially the Republican Party is, you're with Trump or you're not.
Right.
And
And his tool for that was primarying people. The primary season's ending.
right.
What's Trump going to do? Bitch around about him? He can't primary him. He's out in fucking 2.5 years himself.
And then you run into another issue. This is his last term. So let's say that these Congress people do happen to 2/3 vote, and it passes, and now it's law. Trump's in his last term. He's not looking for any more political career. Now, is he not wanting to go to jail? Probably as well. But then if he can skirt, like the thing is he's done this his whole life, skirt around the law to find a loophole. You got to find, he knows that you've got to find, there's a loophole somewhere.
Clay.
That's every
The
good
loophole.
businessman, honey.
Yeah.
That's every good business.
But that's giving so many degrees of freedom to him, right? There are conservatives that remember Donald Trump is holding a foreign head of state hostage in New York City right now. He's not just asking for hundreds of billions of dollars and thousands, if not millions, of American lives for this conflict, but he's asking people to ignore the fact that he's an inept leader, right? That's the problem. His problem isn't that MAGA has to go rally people for the midterms. It's that, yeah, his position is I would say so dumb that when I look at it, it's like, I can't believe that it's taken this long for conservatives to just finally wake up, just finally notice.
Trump cares about all that.
May I ask a question about that?
You think Trump cares anything about what you just said, Doug?
Well, I do have a question about that, and it's very serious. I'm concerned. New York City, and I understand what's going on with it. I'm very involved with it. I still want to know, why do the taxpayers at a federal level need to bail out the social programs of New York when that should be up to the local politicians, not the broad base of the other 49 states? That's my concern.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, so saying that saying in the context of global war and any lack of movement on oil and gas, that you're upset about a social program, like, to me, that's like a flea or a tick biting my ass. Like, I don't give a fuck about it.
I'm not upset about a social program. You put it into the context of the New York social programs. So I'm meeting
No, I
your
didn't. You
energy
brought
with the
that up.
question.
I didn't mention it once. I didn't mention it a single time.
You never brought up people losing their benefits
No, I didn't.
in New York?
I didn't.
He said holding a foreign leader hostage is what he said.
Well, he mentioned thousands of people.
Yeah, that's not a social program, right? If you kidnap someone and you charge them where you don't have jurisdiction, that's not a social program. That's kidnapping.
Did you not mention New York City though at any point, or New York at any point in there?
Specifically, he mentioned New York City.
That is. So that's what you care about, right? You want the big city lights.
Yes, that's
you
what
care
he's talking
that
about, isn't it?
there's 30% immigrants.
Stop,
right?
Stop.
It's a hotbed for sim politics.
You duck. All you care about is yourself. All you care about is whacking your pud. I mean, what is this?
Give me an example of that. Tell me when that's been true. That hasn't been true a single time. That's not been true.
It has, bro. You said it on.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yes.
You're going to get a response, Duck. This isn't other panels you've been on. One at a time. That's how it works. Kevin, go ahead.
The way I perceived that was, Duck, you set a stage and I performed on the stage you set. I did it fairly and in good faith. You're changing the stage mid-scene. Why?
It's not my stage. I was talking about New York City and Venezuela president. We had a miscommunication that was my fault. I came up here crunchy as fuck. I came up here delicious. You as well. And
don't kick him off. Come on. We were being delicious together. Come on. There he is. Okay, good. Yes, bring him back. Okay, go on. Continue, please.
No, I mean it is the case, right? If you look at the total reasons we are spending almost $1 trillion immediately, right? This is dollars and cents to nuts and bolts. We're spending $1 trillion a year on the military. One of the reasons is because you have a foreign head of state hostage, right? Donald Trump is not a budget-friendly president. He never has been. And the military and his recklessness is a big reason why the GOP conservatives see this. They're trying to talk to these MAGA idiots. These people are such idiots, right? They don't hire financiers.
Ooh.
They're not trying to find former lawyers. They're hiring the dumbest of the dumb to go listen to Donald Trump and build a ballroom.
For specificity.
Scoreboard.
Who are the MAGA idiots? Just for specificity. And the anyone who bought that dumb, stupid book in 2015, anyone who voted for Trump in 2016, anyone who voted for Trump in 2024, anyone who watched The Apprentice and didn't see that this was just an unrepentant sociopath putting himself on the public stage. Anyone in that camp, you're an idiot. I hate to break it to you.
Hold on, Duck. Now I'm going to respond. Hold on. Now I'm going to respond.
Alan? And also, what's up, Alan? And also, Duck, you left out WWE Hall of Fame.
Now I'm going to respond. Do you realize that not one American taxpayer dollar is funding the ballroom? Do you know that?
I don't care. Once again, you want to claim to be the vanguard for small budgets. I don't care. I don't give a shit. You want to be a vanguard for small budgets.
You don't pay taxes, sir.
Say the number 1 trillion. Say the number 1 trillion, Scott. Say the number. What does it mean? Count it on your knuckles and toes.
Oh, I can. 1 trillion of non-taxpayer money, dumb fuck.
I got a question for Duck, if you all don't mind.
Go ahead, bro.
Go ahead.
This is really in response to him mentioned in New York and something he posted in the back chat. Doc, did you imply that MAGAs or conservatives in general are Nazis?
Yeah, absolutely. I may be dumb, but I don't think I think a lot of people understand immediately when you see fascistic behavior, fascistic management of the White House. Absolutely.
I don't know you well enough to call you an idiot yet, but I assume you are if you're a liberal.
Right.
Do you know what that New Yorker governor, or my fault, mayor is? Oh yeah, governor. I had it right the first time.
Which one? What's your name again?
Kraut Mick.
What's your name again, buddy?
Kraut Mick.
Okay, Kraut Mick. So Kraut Mick, yeah, I do know Zoran Mamdani. No, I'm not that smart. Yeah, I think it's poetic to label Donald Trump and his minions as Nazis.
Hold up. What the governor of New York is doing right now is straight out the Nazi fascist playbook. He's literally dictating landlords on what to do in order to take their property away, because he raised the taxes so high in that fucking state that the landlords aren't able to properly maintain their land. And he says if they let it go a certain limit, he'll take
Wait. Before you continue, it almost sounds like you want to have a conversation with a liberal. Is this true or it's not true? Because this would be the first fucking time in the last 8 years that's been true.
Bro,
hold on.
To be fair, Kraut Mick.
I'm sorry?
To be fair, Kraut Mick, that's actually communist behavior. That's not fascist behavior.
My fault, communist, yeah.
Patton did say at the end of the war that we made a mistake supporting the communists rather than the fascists. So
true, he did say that.
He did.
I do have a question.
But no, Doug, the reason I bring that up is because of, again, your statement that implies, and you actually did agree that MAGAs and conservatives are Nazis. And also you mentioned New York, so I was just thinking about that.
No, I didn't say that. You're stretching me out. You're stretching me out. He's already fired 4 women. He's already fired 4 women. He's fired 4 women. The guy he hired for Homeland Security, the guy he hired to set up a domestic security agency for his regime, yesterday said that his successor lied and fabricated statements and documents to cover up murder, conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder by ICE agents on U.S. citizens. So you are a patriarchal, murderous cabal. How is that not Nazi? How does that not fit in that paradigm?
All right. So again, you're judging one party when the other party does the same shit. How is it patriotic to threaten the entire American society?
What the?
We should. Let me finish.
What the fuck are you? What are you talking about? This is what I'm saying. What are you talking about? When
He can't tell you if you don't shut the fuck up.
Duck. This panel don't work like that, bro.
Nova, what in the hell?
Yeah, just because you raise your voice, don't make you a man.
It's one person at a time, Duck.
It gets heated.
Right?
All right.
Yes.
So like I was saying, if you want to judge our party for doing that, we can judge your party for having candidates that literally several times starting to take away the First and Second Amendment. You're gonna act like you don't know what I'm talking about, though, right?
So can I actually respond in that same kind as well?
Yeah,
from my understanding,
absolutely.
is that Trump is actually just following Obama's political hack, that loophole with the idea of 60 days being not interrupted, right? So if it's interrupted, then it's
shit! Somebody get Admiral Gibbs up in here.
So you mean Trump's just following prior precedents set by a president?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, Obama did it too.
I'll be damned.
Gee, I guess nobody's absolved, huh?
I would like.
I don't like either one of them doing it. But I'm just saying, like,
Doug, can you answer my question?
Good for the gander.
It is what it is, yeah.
Welcome, Admiral Gibbs, to the panel, sir. Good evening. What say you, sir?
It's a wonderful time to be alive. I got to say, big fan of this whooping we're having in Iran. I'm so excited. I can't believe these treasonous bastards in the House are going to sit here and try to limit war powers. Good thing it's not going to matter because it won't get through the Senate. I got to say, this is maybe the best foreign policy president we've had in the last 30 years. Massive fan. He also told Netanyahu that he needed to chillax because he was fucking up what our goals were. And, it's always good to let your attack dog know that he's your bitch. And that's what he did. He told me he was crazy and he'd be in jail if it wasn't for Daddy Trump. And I love that Trump is bringing back Big Dick America, bringing back a modern take on Fortress America while we secure all these straits, secure the petrodollar, and hand out whoopings across the board. It's fantastic. How's everybody else doing tonight? What's up,
Duck, answer my question.
Better with that kind of shit going down.
Can we get a yeah?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. President Trump is going to be rising to the cream of the crop. Yeah.
I love Gibbs.
Don't forget.
Tell him, Gibbs. Tell him, but tell him something.
Hey,
okay, so Kevin had some questions. So we're going to go to Kevin, and then we will open the floor to complete degen mode with some restrictions.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
The fuck over each other. Don't do that.
Exactly. No talking over each other.
Right.
Hold on,
Can I say
Krautnet.
something? All right.
1 second. Go ahead, Kevin. He's been waiting patiently.
Okay. This is for Duck. I'm going to start with a statement, and I'm going to follow it up with two questions. Okay. So I've been an operative on the left. And when I say the left, I don't mean the Democratic Party, and I don't mean progressives. I mean downright into socialism and communism. Before I moved over to the conservative aspects of the party, I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. My husband is very progressive. Okay? So my question for you is, based on what I just told you about myself, when I was an operator on the left, we never developed a specific definition at an institutional level for fascism. You had mentioned fascistics earlier. What is your definition? If I may know, do you have a definition of what is fascism in order to enlighten everyone on the panel from where you come from? That's my first question.
I believe that was aimed at you, Duck. Duck. You're muted, Duck.
You hear me? I'm having technical.
Now you're good. There you
I
are.
know.
Okay, there you are. Okay.
Did you hear what he asked you, Duck?
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Go ahead, Clay, until Duck gets it figured out. Duck, you may have to go out and come back in.
Well, did you, Kevin? Did you have anything else other than something for Duck? I mean, if you want, you can.
It was two questions, and it was rather important that I have received Duck's definition of what is fascism, because it's very important, because fascism is a very fluid by design, by the way. It's intentional that it was never properly defined other than in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, which is not used in the political venue. Now you're muted, Clay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody
You're welcome.
bringing words like these to the table definitely want to at least understand their view of that particular term. We might not always agree on definitions, right? So understanding where he's coming from, what that actually means, is very important. So no, I agree 100%.
Thank you.
Well, until he comes back. Oh, did he? He's back. All right, I'll let you.
Hi, welcome back. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
So-
Sorry about that. Fascism. Yeah, fascism, you can define it by Benito Mussolini. There's also social scientists who've built various indexes that look at common traits. You can look at things like rhetoric. You can look at things like anti-woman sentiment being on the rise. You can look at patterns of how laws passed and written, the seeming independence of ICE, lack of respect for institutions, and then just generally the dehumanizing rhetoric, right? So, I think it's fine. For me, I would say it's fine. If my buddy texted me and sent me a story about ICE or like the Delaney protests and we see the stormtroopers out front, I'd be like, yeah, it's like pornography. I know it when I see it, right?
So your specific definition coming from you, though, that's what I'm curious about.
You added a bunch of stuff that isn't aligned with fascist, like being anti-woman. That's not fascist.
Yeah, it is, though. It is.
It's not.
It 100%
is.
Policy-wise, Duck, men and women's sports.
The Third Reich was incredible.
If anything, he's protecting women. If anything, okay, policy-wise, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, what has he done that's anti-woman? Policy-wise,
anti-trans, I'll agree, and anti-homosexual, I'll agree. Anti-woman, no.
Yeah, I mean, the close alignment with Christian nationals, I would say, is the most profound. The adoption of this nouveau invented heritage Christianity that's come up in the U.S. And then he's fired the first 3 or 4 women that he invited into his cabinet. Tulsi Gabbard, obviously, respect to her husband and her. But yeah, Pam Bondi also, I mean, respect to Pam Bondi right now as well. But yeah, Bondi, Kristi Noem, there was someone else that he fired in his cabinet. So he gave women these shitty jobs. He's also been accused of raping women, lying about it. And yeah, I don't know how you would say Donald Trump is.
Oh my God.
Here's where the problem coming in is you're trying to align that to Nazi, and that wasn't the case with the Nazis.
I said it's poetic. I think I can be a fan of poetry.
I will agree that the Nazis were definitely anti-trans, were anti-homosexual, they were nationalistic. I can definitely see those parallels there, but then you're just taking anything that you feel that's bad, that you don't like, and turning that into Nazi, and that's what's making the whole fucking thing confused.
Hitler executed.
Nazis were socialist, Duck.
Was it 53 of his own generals? Doesn't this sound like? I mean, this does sound exactly like Donald Trump. In his while he was learning
that sounded better again.
Yeah, the weaponization of the DOJ. I don't know. Yeah, how far do you want to actually take it? I don't want to spend all day on Trump's Truth Social. Mocking former political parties, mocking former presidents with a racialized language. This is all like Nazi bullshit. It's all Nazi stuff.
So with John Solomon reporting on Merrick Garland and the Biden administration knew that raiding Mar-a-Lago was illegal, straight up, flat out, right when
What
they
does
did
that have to do? That has nothing to do. These are it's independence, right? These
Well,
are
you're talking about
actions.
weaponizing the DOJ. I'm simply saying that he's only going after you guys because you guys did the same fucking thing, and this time he actually has the merits behind himself, and he's not doing illegal backhanded shit.
But I don't see how you don't see. You're the one justifying it, right? You're the one justifying fascistic tactics. You're not justifying
Because you're doing illegal shit, Duck. It's not fascist.
Inalienable. Where did the Constitution go? Yeah, Jesus Christ, Sarah, good to see you.
Oh, who'd we boot?
Hey, Sarah.
Did you boot someone?
No, just I put him in the back for a minute.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
Duck, I've got
Wait,
this to say.
who went to the back?
Fletch for a minute.
Oh.
I appreciate.
He said it's cool. He just said in the back it's cool.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not bad, right? Sorry.
Doug, I appreciate your definition of fascism. I get where you're coming from on it. I wish that we could come together on a term for fascism which we could all agree upon, because I think that one of the problems we have is that the term fascism is too fluid, and
But it's not fluid. This is
You want
hold on.
You want
Hold on. Like, let's look at history. Where does fascism come from?
No one needs your PTSD military argument, dude. No offense. No offense.
Hold on.
Thank you for your service.
I mean, first of all, I wasn't in the military, but thank you. But first of all, where does fascism come from? It comes from World War II and the pre-World War II, after World War I, where we have Mussolini, we have Hitler. Arguably Hitler's not even a fascist. He did look up to Mussolini, who was a fascist. But we do know what fascism is. There's many, many books. And here's the thing about what you're doing right now. I get that you are like kind of independent now, but you were on the left. Here's the problem with what you're doing is that inherently these governments at the time were actually left-leaning governments, right? And the reason why y'all try to push this off and say they're right-leaning is because the race stuff, even though they're actually left-leaning. They nationalized industries in Germany. That's socialism and fascism, right? They did it through the party. They increased unions. They did all these policies that are socialist and fascist in nature. And then y'all go, well, that's not really fascism. And y'all try to redefine fascism as what a modern fascist is, which is a military junta. And they just say, oh, anybody that's authoritarian is fascist. Well, in that case, North Korea, one of the most left-leaning governments on the world, they wouldn't be fascist, but or they wouldn't be socialist or fascist by y'all's definition. But we all know they are. Junta is socialism. I'm just saying, y'all are like sitting here being very dishonest when y'all say it's fluid. Y'all just denying history.
Admiral, the point I was coming from is that for the purposes of our current panel,
sure,
he had mentioned it earlier and I didn't know exactly where he was coming from, so I was asking for clarification, and I completely understand your point of view as well, Admiral.
Fair.
Absolutely. This is very educational. Now, secondly, Duck, I have a question. Do you really think I'm delicious?
I think we can all be we can all be wet like the soft rain. I'm sorry for saying that. I apologize.
Ice cream.
This just got exciting.
Well, you're delicious too. Okay, and so is my husband, but I'm not into a throuple, but I just want to say you're not bad on the eyes, Mr. Duck. Okay.
Thank
you. Yes.
Come on, we're not speed dating. Come on.
How did this
Sarah,
happen? How did that happen? I thought that was pretty
they're
good.
making a speed date, Duck.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with it. I'm down.
Okay, well, I'm okay too. So
Cool.
sashimi?
Japanese or sushi?
Japanese.
Okay, not ambitious, not that exciting, but okay.
Oh, come on. When you grind your own wasabi, it can be very exciting. Not that cheap horseradish shit they sell. Ugh.
Plum wine.
Plum wine. All right.
Cool.
All right, Sarah, bring us out of here because we're going to end up getting pregnant. Come on, get us out.
That's what I said. That's not, no one judged Kevin for that interaction. That was all me.
Okay. All right. See, conservatives.
That was
conservatives.
You guys. Somebody
left in the. We can get along, you guys. You know that it's possible. We can actually get along.
We used to be able to get along.
I was waiting for it to get a little more hot, steamy, but
Sarah, that was like too quick, like premature.
No, you guys are always too fast to blow like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, unless you guys are paying $4.99 a minute, I don't know what you were thinking. What were you expecting? You're not paying $4.99 a minute.
I'll be your sex phone operator for $9.99. Hello,
Sarah.
my name is Sarah.
This is
I'm
Morty.
here.
This is Morty Schlermer. This is Morty Schlermer, Sarah.
I'm here to
calling you
narrate your speech with
Who
Doc.
the fuck said that? Why do you sound like Morty Smith?
My
You
name
know
is
what?
Morty Schlermer. Do I not use my correct last name on this line, Sarah? Miss Sarah?
What?
Do I use my legal surname with you? My name is Morty Schlermer.
What? What are we talking about?
Do you
Waterfowl.
guys know that if people in Iran are watching this right now, we're talking about the problems in Iran and we're currently sitting here having fun? Do you know how tacky that would look and how many people would want to blow up right about now?
They're like, and they're talking about us. Look at this mess.
I know. Grinding wasabi and everything. You know, what else you going to grind back there, huh?
So I know that Duck, you said that it's giving him a lot of latitude, right? Here's the thing. It's not us giving him latitude. He's had the latitude his whole entire time in presidency. The Congress has given him that latitude, right? So he's done nothing that's unlawful here, right? Now, people can make the argument that they believe it's unlawful, but of course, then you would need to take it to the court. Of course, we know the court's going to make that decision. But if he's saying, no, there was a stop to the conflict prior, now we're not really in that, 90 days. When people say that he has done something outside of his powers, his authority in the Constitution, I'm like, well, what? And then you say, well, I believe. You can say that all you want, but until you put it in front of a judge and they make the decision.
He's playing it pretty fast and loose. I mean, if we look at the number of DOJ cases that are targeting Democrats, and this is coming after, I think I would recall, was it Eric Adams in New York who was accused of commingling and cheating with Turkish diplomats? Following very unpopular numbers, it seems like Donald Trump has gotten out of pocket. And it's fine to believe that even though there's not like a impeachment trial or a one judgment that says, well, you actually colluded behind the scenes, right? You yourself broke the law, not because the policy was illegal, but because you, Donald Trump, broke the law. I think it's still fine to politically hold that Donald Trump is a criminal in office.
I mean, so you talk about criminality and whatnot. Can you tell? So he's been, how many felonies does he have, Duck? I know you know that off the top of your head. Was it 30 something, right?
I don't know. More than
okay, cool.
it's more than one or two, right?
Can you tell me what the charge is specifically that he got charged for?
Well, I think he's colluding behind the scenes to reel in the DOJ and the FBI. He's preventing the criminal.
Let's just grant that, but that's not the question. Maybe you're right. You're probably right. They're all corrupt at the top. But here's my question: What was he charged for in those 31 felonies? Do you know?
I don't know. Was it Russia collusion? Isn't that the buzzword? Russia collusion. It was Letitia James, something like this.
He was charged because he paid somebody. And he didn't want to tell people that he paid somebody. And then so they moved their stuff around. So it's basically money mismanagement. Yeah, that's a real taboo crime. Don't you agree? That's a real bad felony. Just the worst one of all of them, right?
Well, if he was honest, if he would come out and tell us the truth about how he runs his business instead of using a double speak and coded language, that would be a quick. That would be the fastest.
Do you think that's a pretty ticky tack? Do you think that's a pretty ticky tack felony, or like to go after and expand up to 31 different felonies for, I don't know, moving money and not saying people,
No, Donald Trump doesn't let, you may think this is as a benefit of him. He doesn't let his lawyers run his business, right? And so I think when he does something wrong, I think it's more likely he does so knowingly. To wit, he also, one of the reasons trust is such an important factor to him. If you were an investigator, you would say, well, hey, yeah, this guy looks guilty as sin from the outside.
So what you're saying is you don't think 31 charges for basically what's an accounting error is not lawfare. You think that's just plain regular course for business?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. It seems like he's involved everyone in his family and close to him with his businesses, he looks like a criminal, right?
Ben, I gotta go
Like,
real fast. I gotta
criminal
take
who
care of
likes
something. I
cigarettes.
love you.
Love you, Sarah.
Yeah, just quick show of hands. Does that sound like a pretty ticky-tack felony to anybody else here? My thing's gonna move. Yeah,
It was to get Trump.
Attack.
The whole
That's what I
point of
thought.
bringing all those cases was to be able to get Trump and try to lessen his
That's right.
likelihood of winning the 24 election. That was the only reason why any of those cases were ever
It's the
brought.
only reason they looked at
It was weaponized lawfare at its finest.
And I
Oh,
and
so
I
we
have a
agree.
contention about it.
Yeah.
I have contentions about it because I'm familiar with what the left would like to decriminalize. If the left were to decriminalize certain things we consider crimes.
Yeah, that part, because I guarantee you that some of those felonies are on that list.
That's actually a good. That's
I
actually a
kind of
good
want
point.
to ask Duck a question. I want to ask Duck a question.
I would, yeah, go ahead.
Tom, check your
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. You keep throwing all these words around, and thankfully Boulder corrected me on the communism part. I know what communism was. I was just getting tripped up. I also know what Nazism and dictatorship. The only definition I'm not too familiar with is fascism, but I'm not going to talk about that. Do you think it shows dictatorship when you have two separate candidates in the same party that actively says they're going to take your First and Second Amendments away? Yes or no?
Take your first and second. Do I think that? Yeah, if people, there should be a robust discussion anytime there's limits to the First and Second Amendment.
Okay. So Biden and
but here's evidence. Okay, my friend died in.
Oh, he froze up.
Dan, that sucks.
Dang.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, to your
well,
moment question though,
Fix
but
your
you know
T-Mobile
there are
Wi-Fi,
dic-
Doc. Come on.
You know there are dictators. I mean, just to play devil's advocate with you real quick, Kraut, there are dictators that are like pro 2A, and their countries are heavily armed at the population level. Some dictators are like there's even like dictators that are like pretty lenient and like liberal with their policies. And
Oh
whatnot.
yeah,
Like, I'm not
yeah,
talking-
yeah, Gibbs. Don't get me wrong. Like I know both sides why both sides want for the people for themselves. I'm in no delusion about that. But if it benefits us, we got to take the system unless we all collectively agree to smash it, take it for what it is. But where I'm getting is he's judging conservative, Nazis, fascist dictatorship. When oh yeah, Trump says mean words, but he hasn't actually shown any dictatorship ideas. Where as in Biden and fucking Cackle and Harris literally said several times on video, we don't think you should say mean words. We think you should be punished. Let's round up all the guns. And what I also wanted to ask Doc, hopefully he comes back. Do you think Don Lemon impeded on the First Amendment right when he fucking stormed that church, whatever it was, 4 or 5 months ago? And he's a fucking left-wing liberal.
He
So,
committed a crime, but he didn't impede on somebody's First Amendment. He wasn't acting in governmental capacity. But yes, yeah, I know what you're saying. He actually did commit a crime.
Well, no, hold up. I don't think you have to act in a governmental capacity to impede somebody's right.
Yes, you do. That is the way it works. That's
You
the
do?
law. Yes. But when they told him to leave and he decided that he was going to stay, that is when he committed a crime, essentially. He was trespassing at that point.
Yeah, Clay, actually, you are right. Now that I think about it, yeah, the government can't infringe on our rights. You're right, Clay.
Correct.
Okay, we want.
This
I want
is
to.
why I'm glad you're not a lefty.
I want to
agree
welcome
on a lot
Ronan,
of
the
shit.
travelers. I want to welcome Ronan to the panel. Ronan, good to see you. Thanks for coming up. If
Nice to
if
see you guys.
anybody would like to come up, we do have some room in the back now. The links are posted. I'm going to post a StreamYard link again in the chat on the Ben Balderson channel and on the other respective platforms. If you'd like to donate, please do over on the Ben Balderson channel. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. We much appreciate it. Back to you, gentlemen.
I want to hear from
Is
Ronan.
Doug
What's
back?
up,
If
brother,
he's
man?
not, I'm done.
Yeah, Ronan. So I know you've probably been listening. You know what we're talking about right
Yeah.
now. Also, we got this thing going on with the Iran war. I think that's the main course of the topic, and then we're also probably going to get into the California gubernatorial thing. Any thoughts?
Well, from what I've heard you guys say, and you guys are making good points on both halves. And my background is as a Republican, now independent. Okay, so I don't have any skin on either side. I'm gonna call this straight down the middle, balls and strikes. Okay. As far as the situation is going on in Iran, one, I believe what you guys are saying is absolutely true. This midterm is going to be an absolute chaos, and I think anybody that's taking AIPAC money right now should be eliminated on both sides.
I like you, sir.
Yep.
Okay, on both sides. Anybody taking AIPAC money is working against our government right now.
Yep.
For the benefit of the small hats, just to keep it YouTube friendly. Okay.
Perfect.
Secondly, the operation that's going on right now is going on right now, technically illegally, because it was not congressionally approved to start an act of war. Okay. As a Marine, as a former Marine and a Marine at heart altogether, we're allowed to go anywhere in the world for 29 days. On the 30th day, we must pull out, wait 3 days, and go back in for another 30 days.
They changed it to 60.
Okay, either way.
Yeah.
That's far and extended before it's an act of war. What we've been doing up to this point without congressional approval. Secondly, I am totally disappointed at the Joint Chiefs of Staff and any general following rules right now, because they're really not. They are supposed to be the checks and balances. If the Congress fails on checking the president, the general should be the one to say, no, sir, without congressional approval, we cannot move forward. We can stage, we can get ready, but until you get approval from Congress, we are not your, hammer to just hammer anything you want or your buddies, meaning the small hat guy.
Which changes the context, because right now that he's making Congress go against him. And what Ronan Travelers is saying, he has to seek the approval to move forward. Entirely different things.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question in regards to this then. Okay. So right now, the main priority here, in my opinion, is the fact that there's a blockade going on. Mm-hmm. Should those ships pull out? Should they actually be required to pull out? And should they pull out? Should they not be in the strait?
As somebody that participated in a blockade, I know what they're doing. What they're doing right now is they're checking all ships coming in and out of the strait. They're not hindering them. They're inspecting them. And what they're inspecting for are weapons going in and out of the straits in order to support Iran. Whole thing with the Cuban Missile Crisis, going back to that time frame. They were just checking the ships to make sure Russia wasn't sending ship parts or rocket parts into Cuba to shut up a missile range in Cuba to basically aim at the American coastline. But same thing with this. We only check ships. We don't hold them at bay and tell them go port here. We're going to check the ship, make sure it's secured, check their manifest, see what they're doing, where they're going, and we release them on to whatever destination they're going to. We don't hold them hostage. What Iran was doing was literally, because the strait was mined, was holding people hostage to saying, here's a little area that you can go through in the strait in order to get through. And by the way, we're going to charge you in Chinese yuan in order to get through. That's global blackmail at the least for any kind of business that's going in and out of that. By the way, the insurance companies are not going to insure any ship going through that strait at that point because of the high risk value of ships going in and out. So there was a whole layer of different things going on at the same time. Now, here's the problem with that. Iran should have moored these mines to a certain location underwater, and those mines have broken loose. So not even the Iranians can figure out where all the mines are. They need the U.S. troops in there and mining equipment in there just to find out where those underwater mines are now, because they floated off of their original location. It's highly dangerous right now on the streets.
This
brings so you're hold on, two questions real quick, Clay. For one, you do know that we've already sank several ships that tried to breach the blockade, right? And they're not just checking them; they're blowing them bitches up. Like that's what they're doing. Tuesday, we sunk them. Tuesday, we literally hold on. You were just talking.
One at a time. One at a time.
Point with you, Admiral. So what we do in that operation, we will fire rounds across the bow and tell you to stop. Just slow down. Let us search you real quick. No big deal. But if a ship has it in themselves that they want to continue after we ask them, absolutely. We're going to shoot.
Okay.
We're going to shoot them and sink them.
So we are shooting them. And then I got a second question here real quick. When's the last time we declared war? Because as far as I know, and I know I'm right when I say this, it was 1942. So Vietnam, I guess not a war. I guess Iraq, not a war. Iraq 2, not a war. Afghanistan, not a war. And we
no one forgets Korea.
Hold on, don't worry. Korea, also just a special military operation, and then led by the UN. We saw how that worked out. And then we got other examples. We have troops still in Syria that are fighting. We have troops that are in other countries all over Africa that we're turning over contracts to Rwanda to. So can you tell me how we're able to do all these things if all those things are just illegal?
It's because bad people had the power of our military and they were using it for their needs, ultimately. There's a global deep state in that part of our military and the part of America, just like in China, there's the CCP. There's the good people of China and there's a bad part of China being the CCP. It's the same fucking thing. And we're still under an occupation to some degree with that. And that's what Trump is ridding of the world. Plain and simple.
Okay, so let me answer the first point you were making. And before I was right. The original Gulf War that I participated in, Congress voted on that and it was approved. So it was officially
overwhelming propaganda.
So I want to verify facts. So I had to go back and Google that one. I can go back and Google all the other ones you brought up, but I'm sure Congress was involved because back then there was an honorable system within Congress in the House of Representatives where they did follow rules. Didn't matter who was the president. Okay, that has jumped off the rails since. But back then, there were approvals and boards and different things that kept people in check.
That has been off the rails.
But did Congress declare war on any of those things? Even when you went, Congress never declared war, dude.
1 second.
No.
Gonna step out.
They
Kraut
approved
Mick is going to step out. You got anything to say on your way out, Kraut Mick? Nope. Keep going, guys.
Yeah, but they did not declare war. They authorized the use of military force in Iraq resolution in 2002. So that's Operation Iraqi Freedom. It's a special military operation akin to what Russia is doing right now in the Ukraine. So it's not a war. Like, I mean, it is a war, but it's not technically a war by Congress standards.
The Gulf War, what happened first? Saddam went into Kuwait and captured Kuwait and said, "This is my oil. This is my land."
Sure.
Right? Okay. And so what did Kuwait do in response? Hey, we need help. So at that point, it was, like you said, an operation to go back and liberate something that, we were asked to do by that nation. So does it have to be an act of war when we're going in to assist somebody, or should it always be an act of war?
So it's okay when we break the rules and fix stuff in your favor of, but you're not okay with it when we do it against something you're not. So that's
no. I asked you a question.
Guys, can I make sure that we clarify here?
The question was, if another nation that was conquered or being occupied asked us to come help, and Congress approved us helping them, is that going against the rules?
So Gibbs is 100% correct here. Without it being a congressionally approved war, it's technically not in the category of what we are talking about currently. We're talking about the 60-day possibility of having to pull out. Beyond that, it's not a war, right? So all of those campaigns, they're not wars, not even a single one. Gibbs is 100% correct on this. The last war that was declared was World War II.
May I say something about that?
How long did Vietnam last?
Some of the examples Gibbs listed, like I also served in the first Gulf War. It's not a war because it didn't last fucking like it was like it was Desert Storm, and then a Desert Storm lasted like fucking weeks.
Yeah, sure. I don't dispute that, but like even then, most people colloquially will call them wars. But then we're in Vietnam for almost 2 decades, right? So but that's not a war, and that's just as much as
Afghanistan.
Yeah, or Afghanistan, right? And so, like, when you're sitting here saying these things, when we make these special operations or declare like war on terror, and it's this nebulous thing, like, you're basically what you're telling me is, yeah, I don't like the Iran war, I don't like Zionism, I don't like Israel, so I'm just gonna bitch about it, even though my principles say, hey, these are bad for when it's bad because I don't like it, but it's okay when I do like it. That's the problem. It's called, you got to have like.
Who said that it was okay who said it was ever okay for the one of the biggest problems that we have at this point is that almost is half the politicians are disbarred lawyers. We already know these are crooked fucks that are willing to fucking twist words and do shit. And that's all they're looking to do. And so the fact that they've changed the definition of war in order to try and slip the bounds that they are bound by, things like the Constitution, this should be something that bars them from future fucking positions. Every single one of them.
Absolutely.
May I bring up a point? I was there for Storm Strike, Saber, and Shield. Does anyone else who served during that time remember calling your family and friends or writing your family and or friends back home and getting completely different intel versus what was actually going on from those of us who were there and what the media was telling the public?
Oh, I know they had a media wipeout. They were not telling them everything we were doing.
Sorry, I was in the second one, not the first one.
So are they doing that now? Is it possible that we're right?
Absolutely.
And
Because I already
I'm
knew
wondering.
there was already an ARG on deployment that never brought up. I was part of one of those operations where I was already in Hong Kong when Saddam went into Kuwait. We dispatched, nobody knew we were there. They literally called us Raiders of the Lost Ark because our 5 ships were never reported, and any operations we did were never reported.
Yeah, 100%.
Are we working on
propaganda legalized on the United States citizens at this point? So
are we working on bad intel?
Some
now.
yes.
During
It's
this
not
current
intel,
time.
it's propaganda.
It's misdirection. It's misdirection.
I would agree with that. Like Spin keeps talking about, and I know he's advocated many times here. I've heard him. I've had him on a show. And he's advocated, oh, we got to clean out the nukes. All right, maybe they get nukes, maybe they don't. I don't think that's why we're over there. That's not what we're doing. If you look at the overall foreign policy, what we're doing, first we went after Panama. That's where China and Venezuela kept their money. I did a one-on-one interview with somebody that escaped Chavez. Check it out. She gave us some pretty cool insight. And so they were keeping the money there, and it controls the strait. Okay, boom, we did that. We took out Venezuela. Boom, there goes all of China's oil, and we embarrassed their military with their high-tech radars that didn't work. Okay, then we go over there, and now we're over here. We signed the TRIPS deal with Azerbaijan, and we guarantee access to oil above Iran, and we control that corridor and make a peace deal. That further isolates Iran, China, and Russia. Then we go and sign the deal with the Strait of Malacca and the rare earth minerals deal with Rwanda, as well as help with the French to offload their contracts to Rwanda. All of this is a plan to separate us from the current status quo that's led by our old neo-imperialist allies that have basically been sucking on their teeth. And then now we're in there in Iran. We're taking control of the Hormuz Strait, and we're saying, hey, you're going to do what Daddy Trump and Daddy America say, or you're going to get your country ass whooped. And right now we're whooping their ass. And guess what?
No, we're not.
They try to send oil, we are beating the shit out of them. Every time they try to send the oil out, we take out their tankers. We're confiscating their tankers. And now these countries are buying oil from us and other people. So our dollar is about to be stronger than it's ever been. And then when Iran finally capitulates because all their top people are dying and they can't pay their troops, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have even more power over oil prices, and there's going to be more stability in the long term. It's a thought-out plan to isolate China and Russia and destroy BRICS. And BRICS is so destroyed now that they've had to rechange it to SINC. That's how bad it is.
I agree with half of what Gibbs said. That is what the plan is, to try and restabilize the petrodollar. The beating Iran. Gibbs needs to go ahead and put the bottle down for a minute. Turn off the
How are we losing, Ben? Well, that they can just wait it out. That's winning.
How are we winning?
The KD ratio is like 20,000 to 1.
We attacked them. How are we winning?
We're doing fine.
We're beating them like a
economically.
What are you talking about?
Like we're not beating them economically. They're more stable economically than we are by far.
Yeah, their inflation rate's fucking 54% right now. Good luck with anything right now, doing anything in that country, period. Fuck, Ben. It's crazy.
Have you checked out America one time?
It's not 54% here.
Fucking, they're doing better than we are economically. Let's
No, they're
see.
not.
We still fucking the
I
Strait of
need to be
Hormuz
here.
is still closed up. The American, we're spending 300 billion for every 300 million that they spend. Fucking the American public is getting wiped out of money. And oh, you removed a few leaders. Did it change? Fuck all. No, it did not. In fact, it galvanized the country. This is what happens when we do regime change, because we're fucking idiots that do this over and over again and then pretend like somehow one of these times we're going to get a different result. I believe there's a definition for that. Somebody remind me what it is.
You don't need the regime to change.
Insanity.
Our best case is if they
Insanity,
balkanize them and they're 10
stupidity,
fucking small
crazy.
and then we have even more power over the strait. Like, I mean, yeah, regime change, we don't have to do it well. We just have to destroy the regime that's there. I mean, to say we're not winning, Hezbollah is the weakest it's ever been. The only one that's surviving are the Houthis. Hamas is in shambles. I mean, Lebanon is finally actually voting Hezbollah out because they finally killed so many people. Their axis of evil of terror networks is gone. They have no more leadership. They have no more offensive abilities. They launched a missile today. They killed one person. We launch a missile. We kill half the people in the city if we wanted to.
You know how many times we've heard Trump say that line, Gibbs? I mean, you could keep
I don't
fucking
know.
repeating
You tell
it,
me.
but it looks really stupid. Then when the next week Iran goes and blows a bunch of shit up, like,
What they blow up?
they can't even do no more war. They can't even do it. They ought to stuff, Massa. They ought to stuff.
Look at the missiles they've
can't-
launched.
they
You can
can't
track.
war no more.
Hold on, you can
won.
track. Hold on,
Why
but this is
are we still
trackable.
fucking at
Lord.
war?
Trackable.
Why was Trump out there
Lord.
today talking
just
about
denying statistics.
Iran bombing?
Bro, okay, let me ask you a question. Are we able to track how many missiles they've launched since the start of the war?
We've been tracking everybody's missiles.
Yeah,
And the
we-
most
we-
credible report says they're still at 80% capacity.
Yeah, they might have them, but they don't have any launchers, right? One, that's the big thing because we blew them up. We blew up the caves they're hiding them in. 3, this is something you can check out. They have dropped down, just in the first week, they were launching, hundreds of missiles a day, right? And now they're down to launching about 2 a day. To that, they got one out.
They also are launching less missiles. Why are you trying to
Yeah,
be
because we already blew up all
disingenuous?
their shit.
Like you're fucking around with an idiot fucking libtard.
We already blew
Don't be
we launched those missiles
disingenuous.
with this lower-
Don't spout the dumb shit at me. Let's have a real conversation, Macho
Sure.
Man.
I mean, I'm asking you a question. If we have air superiority now, that means there's no more anti-air defenses they don't have. So that means we've already taken out those targets.
Oh, didn't they just drop one of our killer drones? And then we cried around about it, and then we decided that no, one of our real nasty drones
Reapers,
that we're trying to sneak over into their area, and they dropped that motherfucker. And then we cried and cried.
The guys, they got us. They took a drone. They got one of the unmanned drones.
The drone that
gives a shit about one unmanned drone? We reverse
the drone
engineered
that
their
slipped
shit, made it
over
better,
into
and we're
their
using it against them.
area. The drone slipped over into their area, and they said, "Bye." That's not us controlling things. Quit fucking spouting Fox News and be real about shit.
I want you to listen to what you're saying. You're saying they took out one unmanned drone when we have no fly zones over their entire
airspace.
country.
We fucked around and found out because they control
this is
that
insanity.
space.
We control it so much that they could probably take a 22 and shoot it in the air, and there's a U.S. military aircraft over them, and they might be able to take out the pilot because the density of our planes is so high because we've dominated them so badly. Like, this is like coke. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, in fact, they tried to shoot the boat today. They shot a boat today, and it caused no damage. No damage. This great and wonderful Iranian Navy is
I
at
know
the
this
bottom of the
sounds good
sea.
against the TikTok kids you argue with.
I
That
mean,
are super
the
liberal,
TikTok kids, I don't
but
debate
it's
with
just
them. I'm
fucking
sitting here-
retarded, man.
Listen,
Just fucking retarded.
It's not retarded. I'm just stating
It's
facts.
absolutely
You're
retarded.
literally
We don't
talking
even
about
have that
one drone when the
power
KD
to
ratio
fucking have
is
that
like
kind of-
1,100 to 1. We've had like 14 people die of Americans, I believe was the last number, and we had like 50 injured. How many of their troops have they died?
There's
About a
wildly
million.
different numbers floating around on how many
Oh,
people
wildly
have died and been and injured.
May
Wild.
I say something on that?
Like between 40 to 80,000.
And did you know, Admiral Gibbs, that in 2012 that they put in the NDAA that they're allowed to propagandize the United States public? just like they would with
Didn't know
foreign
that.
people. You and all the people on the other side are both products of that. You are one propagandized
That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm
It's
trying to
absolutely
It
fucking
is
insane.
illegal. It is
May I
illegal to
say-
distribute psychological operations products within the United States.
They changed that in
No,
2012.
they did not. No, they
Oh,
did
yes,
not.
May
they
I
did.
say something on
Yes,
this?
they fucking specifically did.
I left the Army Reserves from a psychological operations unit in 2020. And even then, that was the fucking law.
We're gonna
Now,
go
may I
ahead
say
and
something
read
on
the
this?
fucking law. I'm gonna pull it up because Ant's just fucking seriously fucking wrong here.
Okay, while you're pulling that up, I would like to make a statement about war and casualties of war. In kinetic wars, you have your obvious casualties, as we know. Are people stopping to consider the stress levels this is placing on the general public and how many more casualties we're going to have from increased tension within the psyches of individuals? And especially, are we taking care of our kids during this process? I have stepkids. Are we focusing on our kids to make sure that they're okay?
They don't really care about that.
The reason why I say that is because my
Actually, Ronan,
24-year-old
100% correct. I do not give one flying fuck. They put people in power that pick the wrong team. Sucks to suck. War is shitty. This is not like everybody gets to sing kumbaya. We have enemies. It's Russia, China, Iran, and it was Venezuela and Cuba, and now Cuba's about to take a whooping. So, like, I'm sorry, but these people picked the wrong team. And guess what? You should, if you don't like it, to get rid of your leadership and then join Team USA. Otherwise, get the bombs. That's how it works. And you know what? And this is the worst part. We actually need to put them under more stress so that they break and then they go and remove that leadership. That's what we should be doing. And that sounds heartless. It is callous, but that'll save more lives in the long run. My God.
Okay, who do you want to put under more stress? Because I may have lost something during the conversation. Who do you want to put under more stress?
So like in ancient times, I'll give you an example. I think it's the easiest way to illustrate. In ancient times, right, you had a city, say you were a king, and another army came and besieged you. Most of the time, they wouldn't actually break the siege. What would happen is the people would start starving, and then they would throw the king out, or the people in leadership out, or revolt from the inside, or open up the gate, right? And so this is the same kind of thing. The people might have to suffer because it's going to put the leadership under them under stress, and then the people there are going to either revolt or they'll fall line. And we know that they're going to revolt because they're not a homogeneous population.
So we're gonna go ahead and read this. This is actually from the Congress.gov. So there's no left leaning, right leaning. It's just the fucking it's just what Congress says. Authorizes the secretary and board to make available in the United States motion pictures, films, video, audio, and other materials prepared for dissemination abroad and disseminated abroad pursuant to such act. The United States International Broadcasting Act of 1994, the Radio Broadcasting to Cuba Act, or the Television Broadcasting to Cuba Act. Amends the Foreign Relation Authorization Act, fiscal years 1986 to 1987, to prohibit funds from the Department of State or the board from being used to influence public opinion or propagandizing in the United States. Well, we wouldn't want them not to be able to pay for our own propagandizing with our own tax dollars, but they didn't just legalize propaganda in the United States in the form of film, video, audio, and other materials prepared for dissemination abroad, because it was legal to propagandize the enemy. That's to be expected. You want to demoralize them and things like that, mislead them. Understandable. No, they're like, yeah, but we got to mislead our people too, and they're going to pay for it.
Right. So they didn't repeal it, but they adjusted it so that they could not do that to the American people anymore.
They adjusted it so they could do it to the American people, and adjusted it so our taxes pay for it. Because before that, our taxes didn't pay for propaganda like that. And they're like, yeah, well, we can now propagandize the American people, and they're going to pay for it.
Yeah. You know what? I'd like to say this real quick to the panel and people listening. Gone are the days, the global perspective of the U.S. being the good guys, the global police.
Yeah.
Okay. And AIPAC caused that to happen. Okay. Now you know who's actually pulling the strings behind the scenes. So, but here's the thing. Even when we were doing that, it was at the cost of our sons and daughters. We were risking our lives for other countries and not getting any benefit of it. Those countries were getting the benefit of our risk. Okay. So now that we're taking advantage of some of these things that we're doing with Venezuela and leveraging the benefit of their 303 billion barrels of oil that's sitting there unused, but at the same time we tapped China and Iran when we did it. Oh, all of a sudden we're evil for doing that to Venezuela, when their people aren't that damn upset that there was a change after the fact.
Brother,
They were cheering.
I got to call
Cheering in the
bullshit. I
street.
interviewed someone who escaped, and she can't even call her parents because the government there will kill them. Like, I don't want to hear that it's not bad. Like, they literally don't have water for multiple hours a day. They get electricity 3 days a week. It is
Brother,
a
that has been
shithole,
going
brother.
on
What
for
are
a
you
long
talking
time.
about?
Listen, that has been going on for a long time.
Yeah,
I
because of
live
Chavez
and
and
work.
Maduro.
I know people in Venezuela right now. I work in the travel community. I know guys that come in and out of Venezuela all the time. Yes, they got to jump through hoops to get in there, but guess what? They're having a ball down there. It's not like you think. Again, media propaganda. If you're boots on the ground, I have guys that go in and out of Cuba right now.
Yeah,
in the
I'm sure
travel community in my
the girl
state.
whose parents are
They
in
don't
hiding
have a
in
problem
Venezuela is
with
media
media.
propaganda. I'm sure that's what that is. The
It
people hiding out.
absolutely is, and you've been brainwashed.
I've been brainwashed by somebody that escaped Chavez. Yeah, you're right. That's crazy,
I'm talking to
brother.
people with boots on the ground, just like you said. You interviewed one person. I'm telling you,
I've interviewed more than one person. I got one
go
post.
in and out of that country all the time.
How many people would say the same thing she said to you about Trump?
Not any. Not, bro. Compared to what she said, bro, absolutely not. She's not. We're not.
Have you heard liberals talk? Have you heard?
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think even
Trump's
the most.
taking our money. He's killing. He's killing our people. He's invading other countries. He's a Nazi. He's
I
a
don't think.
fascist.
Sure, those are
I
all
need
true
to
statements that
escape
they
the
say.
United
Duck was
States.
here earlier saying
If
that.
all those things they say these things. However, even like listen, I think Duck is not going to tell you a Cuban death squad actively hunting you is the same as I don't know any of the shit.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Gibbs. Yeah, Duck will say that. That's what we're telling you. Duck will say that.
Well, then listen, then you can't take those people with any credibility.